Okay. We're here. I discovered a new thingy on the top of the OBS.
What's the new thingy?
Well, it says device. So, like, can everybody hear me?
Oh. I'm not seeing us live yet. Today's June 5th, right?
Oh, yeah.
People are saying hi.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me?
Mine is
You're even quieter than usual. Okay. Volume, I understand.
Well, am I the same amount of quiet? Because if so, we should move the microphone back to David's side, because if we're going to be quiet anyway.
No. Hang on. Input. That's not right. I've turned this up.
Well, Jonathan says I sound about the same. Patrick says that he can't hear anything you're saying, which is perfect.
Yeah, but it should be fine now.
Ragdoll says way too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But Mateus can hear us pretty okay. I mean, as long as Mateus can hear us.
That's better, though. Yeah. All right, fine. We're just going to do it all the way up. And everybody is just going to deal with the fact that I trumpet like a mammoth.
I mean, you don't normally.
That sounds kind of like I mixed it up like I speak older English, but wrong. But I mixed it up. I trumpeth like a mammoth.
Interesting.
I love how sometimes interesting means not interesting.
Charles hears me better than normal. Danielle thought there was something really wrong with the sound until she realized her sound was turned off. So anyway, okay. Very high gain will lead to background noise, etc., becoming more audible, which means you can hear whatever's happening outside.
I mean, but we want more gains, right? That's why we get on the grind.
Anyway, I don't think I've been getting any gains this week. So. I also did not save time to cut my fingernails, and so typing is very uncomfortable.
So can you imagine if you had those, back in the 80s, the Lee press-on nails, those were very, very popular.
They were popular for longer than the 80s, but yeah, they're still popular in the sense of acrylic nails, the fake nails, being much longer than actual nails.
But Lee press-ons were the nail. Like, they had commercials, they were everywhere.
Didn't mean they were the nail, they just had commercials. But go on.
Which press-on nail do you contend had a larger market share than Lee press-on nails?
I don't know Lee press-on nails. I do know Sally's and their line of all things nails.
You don't know Lee press-on nails?
No. So,
my goodness.
This is just a difference. But anyhow.
Oh, I like this. Ask the average person with a passing interest in original pronunciation of Shakespeare, and they'll tell you all Americans speak like in the old English days.
It's very interesting. Also, we don't actually have a fan on right now. That's literally just the outside noise. So if you hear something, it's outside noise, no fans. Our computers are not fanning. We have no fans on.
Mm-hmm.
Just outside.
Anyway, the entire point of that was to say, can you imagine typing with those?
No, I don't prefer long nails, period. And so...
Sure.
No, as someone who grew up taking things like piano lessons, you were told to keep your nails short because your nails got in the way. because they get in the way of proper hand posture for anything where you have to push your fingers down. And that includes typing, but also keyboard playing and piano playing. And so I was never a long nail person. I tried once to have the fake nails to see what they were like. That was for prom, junior year. Hated them. Took them off myself without all the proper stuff that you're supposed to have to take them off. And never again. That lasted for like 2.5 days, I think.
Who did you go to that prom with?
My high school boyfriend.
The one?
The one, yes.
In the van? Living in the van?
Now, yes.
Yeah. All right. So, as a reminder then, in terms of the list of commercials I need to show you, because I've showed you a couple now, but the other ones I need to show you the Southwest Medicine Cabinet commercial, the Flash Mob at the Wrong Time commercial, and now a standard 80s assortment of Lee Press-On Nails commercials.
Okay.
You did see Legs, right? The pantyhose commercials?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
And maybe I saw Lee's, I don't know. It's just, it did not make as big of an impression as I think you think it should have if I did. And so, or maybe they just didn't get played as often. I don't know. But for reference, here are my current nails, all natural, very accidental. I did not intend to have them grown out this long. It's just I haven't cut them. It's hard to kind of see how long they are because it's very bright behind me, but it's too much for me.
Yeah. Anyway, this was just a part of the life around me that I didn't participate in, including, Sheer Energy Legs, the Arrowhead Spring Water Guy, Space Camp, and Jiffy Pop. These were all things that I saw regularly on television I was like, wow, look at those. But, they weren't a part of my specific life.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine the life where Sheer...
They had a lot of commercials. And
well, I'm just trying to imagine why you would have cared.
They had a song, and I was like, it's an interesting song. Then I heard a song later called Legs by ZZ Top, and I'm like, oh, it's the Sheer Energy Legs song. I was like, they did a song of it based on the commercial, but no, it was the other way around.
Nice.
There are actually 2 versions of the song Legs by ZZ Top, and I like them both for different reasons. It's really cool. I would love to have a unified version that incorporates everything I like about both versions, but I don't think it's going to happen.
We need to back up a second.
Yep.
Jake went to a European space camp in Belgium. We need to know more about this. How
they were
old
European
were
space
you?
camps?
Like, do you have a picture of you in the space camp suit? Like,
God.
What?
Space camp was the dream of every young child in the United States in the 80s.
Apparently George went to a space camp once.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Of course George gets to go to space camp. Unbelievable.
Mm.
Tongues and Runes every Saturday at 6 a.m. Pacific. Space camp.
Let's have a booba.
Yeah. They both get to go to space camp. Let's have a booba Tuesdays at 1:30. They're like, oh yeah, space camp, did that. Guess I'll do a stream. Space camp. Yeah. Condolences, Miles.
Oh, I've been to several Bible camps.
Mm.
Also called church camp.
I don't know.
But that's where I spent every summer. That was the only camp I went to for a very long time.
Is there a difference? Like, I went to one of those churchy camps, I think, twice.
I think church camp is Bible camp. Like, it just depends on what you call it.
A jamboree. Jesse, where does that fall between Hootenanny and Hoedown?
Well, jamboree to me is less than a hoedown.
Okay.
Bigger than a hootenanny.
Okay.
Nemo did none of the above. Well, Vacation Bible School is different than Bible Camp/church camp. Vacation Bible School is just like you're there for the day at a church hosting VBS. Versus church camp, you go stay for at least a week, overnight camp, whole shebang. But
Are there any?
because I also did VBS, of course.
Is the concept of camp even relevant in India? Is there anything that's similar to that? Basically, where it's like, for a week during the summer, you just go somewhere else, so your parents don't have to deal with you, and it's somehow more wildernessy than usual life.
Because my church camp was just as wildernessy. However, there were a lot of people from St. Louis, and like I one year earned the nickname of the exterminator because I was the only one not afraid of the bugs who came into our dorm at night. The open room with all the bunk beds.
Yep.
I was the only one who was not afraid of them and would get them out / kill them, and so I became known as the exterminator because they were all from St. Louis and freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
It was not wildernessy compared to my growing ups.
Yeah. So no camps, no camp tradition in India. Interesting.
Nemo, I already live in a wilderness. I did at one point too. Same.
So I was about to say, because Jake saying that they didn't take a single photo of themselves at the time, but I was like, well, I mean, we didn't have phones back then, but then Jake is super young.
Jake is much younger than we are. That is truth.
They may have had phones back then.
They may have, and I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. But, okay. Oh my God, Patrick. Yes. Totally me. That was in... Jake is talking about 2015. Yeah, they had phones. Oh my gosh. Because I actually don't think I have any photos from any of my camp experiences because...
Who's bringing a camera with film?
Because like you don't take things that cost money to a place where it may fall in a lake or I don't know, just like it's not even that you're worried that someone's going to steal it because there's nowhere to take it if you do.
Yeah.
But like there is the chance that it's going to be absolutely trampled on, and that I don't think was an option, especially given the price of the film and the developing of film. I don't think our parents would have trusted us.
Nah.
Because they would have had to have paid to develop this whole roll of film of 24 pictures of just crap. Because, they would have been awful pictures.
Yep.
Anyway.
Like sometimes I guess the counselors would take like a group photo, but then you never saw it, Those photos probably exist somewhere. We're in them.
My God, I should look on... I wonder if there's some sort of archive online of old camp photos from where I used to go. I have no idea. Like, I don't remember having posed for a group photo. Like, I don't remember that ever happening, and I don't remember there being a lot of cameras around.
I should mention, Jake, that I would say the usual like camp experience where there's a bunch of kids going to a camp, you're usually not intense. Like it's not camping. Usually there are cabins and you do sleep in bunks. I mean, with that many kids, I doubt that they would do a real camping thing.
Yeah, I tell you, some of these buildings at the camp are still the same from when I was a kid, but they have updated the dorms and the shower situation.
Oh, hang on. Jesse's got something. Can you share a link over here so we all can see?
Oh, I'm just looking at photos from having Googled High Hill Camp, Missouri.
Here we go. High Hill Camp, Missouri.
Ooh, I am way behind on the stream. There we go. My YouTube was like super slow. And so, like, do you see the cafeteria picture? Like no. Oh, you went to a different page. I was staying in Google Photos. Sorry. And so now you're on a page.
Well, that looks fun. A great big high dive into a floaty thing.
I don't see where you are yet. That is also new. There was not a floaty thing. There was just the high dive into the lake.
Mm.
Apparently now they're a little bit more safety minded. I don't know. That's really funny.
Grades 9 through 13. Interesting.
Grades, not ages?
It says grades.
That is very interesting because I never went to this camp in high school. It was like from age 9.
You still know any of these people? John Hancock, Charlie Stevenson, Brian Glore, Melissa Stevenson, Lori Hancock. Any of those names ring a bell?
No.
How about
However,
Donna Myers, Mark Walters, Brandon Hammond, Sean Huckabee, Randy Diebel, Jason Pearson, and Ben Harris?
no.
Nope.
However,
Yep.
fun fact,
Yep.
when I was like it was probably like 5th or 6th grade, I had a counselor for a class who lived in the St. Louis area.
Here we go.
And so adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like 5 years later, she and her family moved to a town right next to ours. And so her kids started going to school with me. And I recognized the last name, but I was like, no way. Anyway, I ended up re-meeting my old camp counselor because they moved into the area from St. Louis.
Huh.
And her son ended up marrying my friend. And so,
Oh.
yeah,
Were you at the wedding?
I was.
Were you bridesmaid?
Probably. God, I was a bridesmaid at so
Probably.
many weddings. Do you even understand how many weddings I was a bridesmaid at? That it's just like, yeah.
Jesse showing
yeah.
off.
No, it's really not showing off. It's really like after a while you want to be able to say no to requests.
Mm-mm.
And then, what do you do?
Paintball.
But that was, because I told you that was the Funky Stumpy wedding.
Oh yeah, that's
The
right.
funky,
Yep.
and then the Stumpy.
Yep.
Yeah. That was that one. Listen, Madeline, I swear if you grow up in a certain small town way of life, all your friends get married by the time you're 20, and everybody who was friends in high school with you is like, well, you'll be my bridesmaid, right? Regardless of the fact that maybe you haven't hung out with them in a while. Yeah. I was in a whole lot of weddings.
There's a lot of information about things that we don't know about going on in chat about Europe. I don't know what D of E even stands for. There's a mention of King Arthur's cave, which I find interesting because the castle that's allegedly where King Arthur came from is over on the west coast of England, like in between whatever area has Plymouth and the area north of that.
Okay.
And then Jake is claiming my jamboree, as if it is an official thing, had 10,000 scouts in tents. This doesn't sound like a thing that could happen in England.
Isn't Jamboree like a camping thing for some groups, kind of like Boy Scouts?
DAB stands for Duke of Edinburgh, which is the Duke of Edinburgh Award, which is a thing others can explain. Okay. I haven't the slightest idea. The area you're talking about in England is Somerset and Dorset.
Jake has posted a link. And yeah, Patrick, that's what I was thinking. Like, Jamboree is a big Boy Scout thing. In the U.S., not saying that's the same for the U.K., but like...
Essex International Scout and Guide Jamborees. This is just for Essex? Oh my gosh, look at this. Back in 1927, Essex had a large rally of scouts at Prairie Park, Southend.
And yeah, Scouting America has a national jamboree every year.
Huh.
So. Okay. Hey, babe,
Goodness.
it's 2:20.
Yeah, I know.
We should maybe talk about this poll that...
I was hoping to bring you a little cheer, you know. I felt you could use some.
I always need cheer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kind of feels like a day for brownies.
Well, I could leave you on stream and just go make brownies.
Dang,
Be
I think
like-
everybody would like that. Okay, so let us talk about the poll.
That was a note.
Yeah.
So now, by the way, there are no kids in the pool, and so it may be getting louder than we want, but like I'm super
always-
happy having this
Me too.
door open.
Honestly, I like hearing kids in the pool. I like to know that they're having fun.
Kids. I just want to be like, simmer down out there.
Yeah. Anyway, so following the exciting overtime victory by the Edmonton Oilers last night, here we have our poll. I want this to be closer to me. Please. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyway, so the poll, we decided to talk about passivization because we were getting to participles and we felt like, well, we hadn't even discussed passives in this language, so let's discuss passives. And we came up with two solid options that we were pretty confident in. Okay, so as a reminder, a little refresher is the way things work in Haugauf, our dog language. Hua bram wa huav, the dog chases the bird. Hua is chase, bram is dog, wa marks the accusative, and huav is bird. Now in the past tense, or in the perfect, hua bram kol wa huav, the dog chased the bird. And so it's the same, except this thing kol gets thrown in after the dog, and it's like an old serial construction. Chased, dog, caught of the bird, or at the bird, or whatever. All right? So that's how that works. So keep that in mind as we look at the passive version. We have hua brama huav, that's the active, the dog chases the bird. Now kol comes back, kol quav wa hua avram. The bird is chased by the dog. So catches the bird chasing. In other words, the verb itself becomes an object, and then you just use the of the dog for the reintroduction of the agent. So the kol shows back up. And if you wanted to know how it happened in the perfective, kol quav kol, indeed you say it like that. Kol quav kol wa hua avram. The bird was chased by the dog. All right, so that was a review. It's killing me. I'm trying to get through this because I can't look at chat because chat covers up the window and I just see people posting.
It's
so
about
excited.
Merlin and King Arthur and how much is real about them. And Danielle points out very, very astutely that King Arthur is real. In her cupboard, the flower, anyway.
Oh, yeah. There were people that believed that King Arthur was real, and it is suspected that, gosh, now I'm losing the name. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
C.S. Lewis
C.S. Lewis was one of them.
was King Arthur.
He believed in King Arthur.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was. I was like, we're in the wrong time. Like,
No.
okay.
That he believed King Arthur was coming back. This doesn't show up really in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series, but if you read the Out of the Silent Planet series, the Paralandra series, it shows up. Anyway, all right, so bearing that in mind, we had an idea to use the Hauhoff passivization strategy, but have the things smashed together. So it's like you have kol, which is the main verb, and then you have the subject quav, wa, hua, separated in Hauhoff. And we were thinking like, well, what if just like how English pulled all of its auxiliaries together to create a verbal complex, what if that happened in Lohakish? And so we gave that a try, and we have, so for example, Gam Kish Hofad, Gam Kish Hokfad, the fox bashes the rock. Shogam Kfad Akish, the rock is bashed by the fox. So that show is actually comes from kol, or the same thing. Ish Kish Hokfad, the fox fears the rock. Shoish Kfad Akish, the rock is feared by the fox. Also, we could. There's a future where if this wins, maybe we shorten up shell before a consonant. I don't know. Anyway, that was one option. Option two, we said the verbs by themselves were just participles. And so that in doing, an intransitive verb would be just, a whatever participle, so the sleeping dog. But a transitive verb would be a passive participle. So it'd be the bashed rock, not the bashing rock. And so then you could say things like, kish wo, the fox is a mother. Kish haf, the fox is quiet. Kish mi, the fox is a sleeping one. And kishish, the fox is feared. And so we would have to figure out how to do, other participles and things like that, and blah, 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 blah. And they would agree as adjectives, and we did this. So this is the, we've had votes like this, but this ties the closest vote ever in the history of LangTime. We'd probably have to go back and count how many votes there were total to figure out what the closest vote ever was, but this is definitely up there. It was decided by one vote.
We've had ties before. Is that not the closest vote? One vote. Okay, one vote.
We've had ties. This is hockey. I forgot. So it was decided by one vote. Landslide compared to a tie. And the winner is option A.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That means we don't have to figure out where these other participles are coming from.
Yeah.
We just have a different question to be asking ourselves.
Yeah. Which is how to do participles.
In general.
Yeah. All right.
But we don't have to figure out where one comes specially than the other.
Yeah.
So done and done.
All right. Okay, now I can catch up on shit.
There's a book being mentioned by Aaron. You can find it. Starts with a P. I don't even know it.
Peter F. Hamilton? Never heard of him.
No. It was in all caps. Paralandra?
Paralandra is the second book in the Space Trilogy.
There we go. So that's what...
Is it called the Space Trilogy? Yeah, so the first one is Out of the Silent Planet. The second book is Paralandra, and the third book is That Hideous Strength. And the first two seem very similar, and then the third one is kind of really different. The third one is also where King Arthur comes in. But also the third one was incredible. It was stunning, the beginning of it, because it very clearly lays out how simple it is to take an educated society to fascism. And it is completely 100% what you're seeing today, basically. It's like, you just don't print it in the papers. It doesn't happen because nobody sees it. And if you print something else in the papers, then it does happen. And so all you have to do is just round up the papers. This is back when newspapers were a thing, and it's like, newspapers aren't a thing anymore, but they're basically using the same playbook. Anyway, but yeah, so the beginning of that book was incredible. The rest of it, it didn't seem super related to the other ones, which were super spacey, and then the third one was just all on Earth, but also had King Arthur.
You're reading Jake's comment?
Yeah, Jake's. It's news flash. Miles and Jake making progress on Let's Have a Booba. But it is, honestly, it seems like you do get a lot of stuff done on Let's Have a Booba. Like, I know it may not seem that way to you, but if you pop in, like, you're talking about a lot of languagey stuff and getting stuff done. Meanwhile, 30 minutes in, we've done nothing.
Yeah, but we stream for 30 minutes more. We get 30 minutes of nothing.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I've got Do I have the... There we go. Okay.
Thank you, Madeline. We did contemplate making brownies, and that is productive.
Yeah.
And if I actually go do that, then that's super productive,
I love
regardless
brownies.
of the fact that I wouldn't be here.
I love brownies with chunky chocolate chips. I also like it when the brownies develop like a hard skin on the top that cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of glossy.
That is the best kind of brownie.
I love brownies with frosting as well. Mm. Okay. So let's have a little preference poll here before we build this in. Where can I put this? Here, I'll just put it right here.
Since Magpie is here, we can actually start the conlinging.
Oh, Magpie. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
I got the lotion open. The lotion I tried to get you to open yesterday.
Oh, I forgot about it entirely.
I noticed. Just kidding. No, I noticed because your face was zero recognition. So I had this bottle of lotion that I got for my birthday, and it was one of the, the pumps where you just gotta just have to untwist the top, and it's supposed to open and make it so you can pump out the lotion. Creme brulee was the scent, by the way, and it is delightful. I have it on my hands, and it smells like a dessert on my hands. But anywho, it wouldn't open, and so yesterday I had David even try, thinking I was just weak. I looked on YouTube, and there is a trick to it. You have to clean off, completely open the thing, get the pump out of the bottle, hold the bottom underneath the top where it twists onto the bottle, hold that firm while you twist the top, and it'll pop off. But to hold it firm, you've got to first clean it off because there's lotion all over it because it's been down in the lotion.
Yeah.
There's a mess of lotion that it was quite the process.
MOL. Jake is mentioning, by the way, that they have a recipe for raspberry cheesecake icing. Is that if anyone is interested and wants to flirt with high blood sugar?
Yeah.
That does sound interesting to me. It sounds good. And Jake said they don't take anything mixed into their brownies, which I respect. But I did want to share this. Yeah, when I was when I lived at Casa Zimbabwe, I was a part of the cooking team. And one of the things I would cook sometimes would be a dessert. We would get Ghirardelli brownie mix. So it's not making brownies from scratch, it's making brownies from a mix. But given where I lived, that was very, very, it was a drug-forward community, I would say. I knew, of course, about pot brownies, and they were made there. But I was like, that principle can be applied more broadly. Because we also got a lot of teas. Just because, it was a house of big people, so there were lots of different types of teas, including teas that were much less popular, like heavily flavored teas. And I noticed that these were much less popular because the others would, be constantly replaced with new boxes, and the boxes would get old and stay mostly full, right? And so I thought, well, if you could do that with pot leaves, right, just mix them in, couldn't you do that with tea? And so I tried it, in particular with peppermint tea, which was one of the less popular ones. Mixed it in, and when you just mix it in, it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference, but after you bake it and it comes out, the flavor embiggens. And you have peppermint brownies, and they were lovely. I tried it with the orange zinger tea because of the existence of chocolate oranges, I was like, oh, this is worth a shot. Failed experiment, so you don't need to try it on your own. Doesn't work. But I stand behind those peppermint brownies.
Not gonna lie though, tea is not something I imagine that would ever have been drunk much in Casa Zimbabwe.
Oh no, they're all types. I would see them with their tea, and I'd look at them. you know.
That's how I would look too. I'm surprised because I don't think I knew anyone who lived in my dorm who drank tea on the regular or would have stocked it.
Mm.
Interesting.
Well, Jonathan, I was a college student living in essentially an anti-dorm. We didn't get peppermint extract. Coffee brownies. I mean, coffee brownies, obviously. I mean, but if we're going so far as coffee brownies, then shout out Jonathan making the most incredible coffee cookies I've ever had in my
Shout
life.
out, yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna write it down. I'm sorry. Here we go.
We're doing things. What?
It says you're editing offline if you share a copy of your minutes. Man.
Oh, I won't do anything, so...
Unbelievable. All right. Whatever.
Did everyone just see what you mouthed on screen, though?
Yeah, probably.
Not family friendly?
I know.
Gosh.
We're gonna lose our hard G rating that we have.
We're gonna lose our safe for people of all ages. By the way, did you notice and/or care in our template document that the red of the verb conjugation is different than the red of the derivation?
Yeah, I know.
Is that intentional?
No, in fact, if you feel like doing a little bit of busy work, you could take the red in all of these green charts and turn them to a color of green that is pleasing and legible.
I would think red should be the color across the board, right? I guess it is blue in the inflection charts. I was just asking because I had noticed it was different.
Oh.
But, like, the changes should be in the template, not...
There's no template. I mean, yeah, yes, I see what you mean. But, you know, by the way, we added a word while we were off just to make it useful. So the word for rock in Hauchhof Proto was kwed, and it comes out as kvad in Lohakish. Okay.
Was that a horse? Do we get to celebrate with like a nap?
Okay, now I need to jump to the sound changer because I think, yeah.
Oh, I was going to see if I could see what you were doing, and I was in the wrong part
So you
of the
can-
document.
Call this A.
Yeah, I can't see what you're doing, so I'm not going to touch the document.
Last time it came back.
I mean, and that's fine. It's just, you know, it's good to know. Bibleridian is here.
The Bibleridian? Our Bibleridian?
I miss Bibleridian.
I do too.
Do you know Bib gives good hugs? Miss a good hug right now. You give good hugs too, honey. Don't give me that fish hook eyebrow. Oh, I got two of them now. See, Jake can confirm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm still slightly crestfallen that Biv has not returned my most recent DM. It's been a long time. Okay.
I didn't know you had sent Bib one.
Indeed.
Oh, don't worry. David gives me lots of hugs, and he is a very, very good hugger. Even when he doesn't want to be, and I just, like, put myself between him and his computer as he's trying to work. You're very accommodating, even in those moments.
It's very difficult because, of course, I have my office where I do my work, and when I shut the door, it means I wish not to be disturbed. And that is 19 hours out of the day.
I send David so many videos of cats that, like, absolutely get in the way of someone trying to work, and I'm like, it's me!
Okay, so and I swear, like the last time the collaboration just came back, so I'm gonna stick with it. For the moment.
It's fine. It's fine. I just won't do anything.
It's really upsetting, but so I mean, the best you can do is look at the screen. And so option A is what we had in the poll. So invariant prefix. Show. Hang on a sec.
How is that spelled? Whoa! There was a big offline message that just popped up on YouTube.
No?
On YouTube, as you were looking at your phone.
Oh yeah.
The big black.
Sorry, yeah, you're
but
right.
like I hadn't seen that happen before, and so that was.
That's because I went and pressed the collaboration button, hoping to jog its memory.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Jonathan's still waiting on a message from you, so.
I thought I was waiting on a message from you, Jonathan.
Dot.
All right, I needed to talk to you about that. That's right. Sorry.
Me?
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Option A. Option A is what we decided in the poll, so it's an invariant prefix. So we have shogam. I keep pronouncing this like it's Halgoff. Shogam and showish. And it's up to us where we're going to stress this. We need to really think about stress in this language. We didn't have to worry about that in Halgoff. We should in this one. I think it'd be shogam and showish. Anyway. But another option is to treat the L the way we treated AU, the vowel sequence. And that became an U. And so we could turn it into an U before a consonant, and that gives us shugam versus showish. But of course, truly, it actually became a long vowel, and so shugam versus showish.
And that's spelled with the EW? Is that like when it's showish?
Yeah.
SHEW?
Showish.
Okay. Okay. That's
Hang on a sec.
not how I would pronounce that.
What?
Oh, Jonathan has to go. I'm sorry.
Our Jonathan?
Yeah. I just feel like if I had seen that written out, I would have said shawish, not showish.
And actually, I have... No. I was going to bring the L back, but no. Let's stick with this. All right. Okay. So yeah, we got A, B, and C there.
Okay. I feel like I know what I would vote for.
Well, let's just see what others think.
And if you all vote wrong, I'm leaving the room to make brownies for David.
Oh, gosh. Glad nobody can see what I just typed.
I want to know what you just typed.
Which options do you there?
Fair. I like it. Yeah, you have to look at the screen to see what A, B, and C refer to as a reminder.
Yeah.
That is exactly what you're voting on. Interesting. Like, I wonder if I should close pages. But I guess if the error is on your end, because mine still shows that I'm in collaboration mode.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's definitely my error. And it's very disappointing, very troubling.
Okay. I mean, yes, it is, but I mean, okay, in the sense of, if it doesn't help for me to close it out, then I won't, just in case. Because my computer sometimes has problems reopening things.
Something I've wondered, like traditionally if you're doing options, multiple choice, A, B, A, B, C, A, B, C, D, every so often A, B, C, D, E.
Mm-hmm.
I think those of us who have a name that starts with one of these letters have a preference for that option. Like, do I show a preference for D, whereas Bibleridian shows a preference for B?
I would not know, since my name does not start with any of these, and therefore I never considered it. I always thought, though, that C was
Really?
the standard option.
It starts with J, so option A.
Anyway, how many votes do we have? 18. Actually got quite a few votes in.
Oh, Jake. Our stream is G-rated, but our comments section is not.
It is D-rated?
Yeah, it looks like a strong preference for B.
You don't get brownies.
Ah, all right then. So yeah, I like that. I like that. And I would really like to update this table, but I'd also really like for it to... that's a funny thing to happen. I would really like to be able to work in this document.
Well, I mean, you can. It's just that I should not do anything.
Well,
because as long as we save your copy, then we're good.
What I'm thinking is I'm going to shut it down.
You're going to shut it down?
I'm going to shut it down and reopen it. And see what
now,
happens.
in doing that, when you reopen it, make sure that you're not on a screen.
I already did.
You reopened it?
No, like I already
Okay.
protected
Okay.
our interests by muting the Pages application. And we're back.
Okay.
At the moment,
I'm waiting
I
for
appear
YouTube to catch up.
Collaborating.
Because I just now see that you've... Oh, I see a little cursor. I think you're here.
All right. Okay. All right. Now that this is done, we need to expand these tables. And so expand them we shall. Do you favor one big table or two tables of roughly this size for each?
When you say one big table, though, would you be expanding it in extra columns or more rows?
More rows.
And just have like an extra heading to the left with merged cells saying active versus passive?
Yes.
Some of these get lengthy. I think that's going to start being really problematic formatting wise. I'd rather have two tables.
Understood. So let's start by doing the first important thing, which is changing these to a pleasant shade of green. That's too light. How do we feel about that, Jess? Is that a good green?
The one I'm seeing right now, sometimes it takes a minute in tables, but I think that's set there. Like, yeah, I think it looks very pleasing. The problem with green over some of the other colors is that the darker it is, the more my brain just leaves it as part of the font.
Yeah. Well,
but I do like, that's a very pleasing green.
I am using...
If it's too bright, then it's like, it becomes, well, it's too bright, you know.
I'm using the fourth option down in the little drop down. The very bottom green, right above the gray.
I will get that momentarily. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked.
Gangelov. 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 What an interesting language this is becoming. And I am aware that one of these words is not one that will take a passive. So maybe we can come up with another word that is transitive, that ends in L, that ends in AL specifically, so we have very little to change.
When you say very little to change, what do you mean?
I mean that there would really be no passive forms for bow, to flee. So maybe we have a little verb that ends in AL, a different little verb that is
because you can't
more transitive.
You can't be fled. I see what you're saying. I thought for whatever reason, my brain went to the interpretation that phonetically it just would all come out in the wash, and so shir bao would just be bao anyway, because of course before a b, sh becomes nothing. And I was very confused.
Mm-hmm.
I was very confused. Do we have
a friend of mine is a huge Chelsea fan.
Do we have a current verb, like in Haugoff? Do we have a B ending verb that would work? Or an B? Oh my gosh, an L. I read B because I was looking at it as I was highlighting it. Hey, this is practically a passive form attached as a second person perfective suffix. Shubo. Isn't that cute? But did we? Sorry.
What are we doing?
I had asked if we had any current verbs that would work from Haugoff that we could borrow over.
That is certainly the first place we should check.
I am making it through. Oh, I just finished all the tables.
Excellent.
I was doing table formatting, and so I was not looking. But I need to find an L to copy.
Okay, that's a noun. That's a noun. Not the same. That's a noun.
It's almost like, hey. Okay, we have to block or stand in the way of is kol, and to catch is kol. Would those come out as L's?
Oh, you know what? The word that we're actually using, the protoform is a schwa followed by an L. So let's try that. Oh, only 3. Now I think we're going to need a new transitive verb.
You don't like, oh, because they don't work?
Which ones were you referring to?
Kol, to block, to stand in the way of?
Oh, well, I didn't want to have to change the vowel. But you're saying it comes out as ah anyway.
No, I had just asked if they still came out as L at the end, and would these forms work? If so, here are verbs we already have.
No, coal doesn't work. Now let's just come up with something new. This is low-hanging fruit. We can do this. What's something super transitive?
Kick, bite, smash.
Okay,
Grind.
we've got to bite. We don't have to kick. Doesn't seem like a basic thing for dogs, though.
Well, they kick the dirt behind them, as you know, after they use the restroom.
Wow, you're right. You are right.
It's a very PC way of me saying that.
Hmm.
They use the restroom.
They sure do. 100% G-rated.
But anyway, yeah, they kick.
Yeah, all right. So it's got to end in all. What would you like it to begin with?
The gall of me to suggest that.
This is so weird. Every time I go to mute the microphone because I'm about to sneeze, it ends up canceling the sneeze.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine walking around in real life not having to worry about sneezing because you just have to pretend to cancel it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm seeing nothing wrong with a little smash and grind.
Okay. I have identified the recipe I'm going to use for crackly top brownies. What were we doing?
I have an idea. How about khal? Is that
Yeah.
Khal.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Gotta khal the dirt.
Okay.
I just see the comments now. Indeed. By the way, not tongue in cheek at all. 100% serious. Happy Pride Month, everyone. We have such a wonderful community here, many of whom are part of that beautiful rainbow spectrum, and many of whom are. I saw a metaphor. There was like a post where it was like, I'm like a flagpole. I may be straight, but I'm here to support the pride flag. And I was like yes. That. So happy Pride Month to all of our flagpoles and our flag members. Love you all. This is the first time we are both clear and audible from Miles's computer. Mateus. I wish I could be more of a pole. But here we are. So whatever audio settings we have, remember them.
Yeah, I turned the input up all the way, and the microphone is mostly toward you.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, did you actually?
Called to kick.
And that's entered in Hauga?
It's only entered in Hauga because we haven't actually entered verbs yet.
Right, but like it says to kick.
Yeah.
That's the definition. There, now it found it. It told me it wasn't there yet, and so I was getting very frustrated that meant it was.
That would honestly be a cool error message. It's like, sorry, the definition you're looking for isn't there yet, but give it a sec. It'll come.
Why? Because it's spelled etymologically, which is why it's spelled orthographically with the grave accent, but then in romanization it's not spelled that way because it reflects the modern pronunciation.
Hang on. I may have made a mistake.
Okay.
That's... Yes. No, that is... Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so KJL. Okay. Oh, we'll finally get to get rid of an empty definition in the case.
Ooh, we may have made a mistake.
Why?
We may have a form that's too long for the cell.
Aren't you glad we're doing separate tables?
No, like it's going to be too big in the separate table. You'll see. You will see. All will see.
Okay. Oh, I need to be in the correct document to see where you are. Because we're going to have a prefix plus that really lengthy suffix. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Biblaridian saw an exquisite rainbow on June 1st. Did you get photos? I see the cell being all massive.
Yeah.
Could you imagine adding another header column?
Nah, it wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Oh, I think it would.
No. Oh, crumbly bubbly.
As you should be.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. So now we just need to do that for to fear.
Oh, it looks like we're making some good progress. I'm going to go get the Kopiko so we're ready to celebrate.
That sounds good. Now this one is going to be show.
Yes, I limp. I've been sitting too long, babe.
Yes, I do. Yes, that is all that I do.
You know, Mateus, I realize that Pride Month is a U.S. thing, and yet I feel the more we get to celebrate Pride, the better. So why not celebrate it when it's U.S. Pride Month, when it's, you know, Pride Parade time in Germany, South End, or wherever?
So is it just the Pride Month that's the U.S. tradition? Because, of course, we have been to a Pride festival in München.
That was in July, not in June.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so I think most of Germany, correct me if I'm wrong, Mateus, I think most Pride parades in Germany occur in July. I think. Oh, thank you, Biblaridian. Right, Miles? Yeah. Okay, so Mate said yes, and in Europe they're deliberately spread out, which is very cool. Very cool.
Jonathan posted this of me.
Yeah, see Biblaridian's photo. Oh, not just an exquisite rainbow, but a double rainbow over what the heck beautiful building is this?
Whoa.
Oh my good. Oops, I missed one of the reacts there. My goodness. That is amazing. Okay. All right, let's celebrate Bib's rainbow.
Yeah. Here, and just
oh, you're
so
going to show it before I throw the Kopiko at you.
Yeah. I'm sure that's probably on screen, but really, 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 really wonderful. Wow. That's just stunning.
You, when you first held it up, actually had the rainbow in frame. The rest of the time, the rainbow was out of frame.
Yeah.
You ready?
I am almost ready now.
I'm gonna... No, I won't hurl it. I don't want to hurt you. You know what? We're 3 weeks away.
Yeah. Dang. Cheers, life partner.
I need to, actually, wait, 1, 2, yeah, 3 weeks. Gotta get on that.
Copico, proud sponsor of me, who is a proud sponsor of you.
Nice. All right.
Third person, singular, perfective, passive of ish. Showy show. Love it. Okay, let's talk about stress.
Mm-hmm.
I think we decided that
I started singing a song in my head.
most nouns are going to be stressed initially. Maybe. Now I actually wonder if it's a compound. Let me see. Okay. Compounds in Haukoff seem to actually be stressed finally. So, for example, Bram is dog and toy is metal. Combine them to get Brandoi, which is a mech suit, auto armor. But it's Brandoi, not Brandoi.
Mm.
We decided that with case, the case wouldn't be stressed. And so it's looking like kind of like final stress. Now let's look at our verbs. Okay, we have traditional agreement coming from pronouns. Should be initial stress. Go ahead.
I was looking at the document and paying attention to what you're saying, so I wasn't looking at chat. And Jake 100% had read my mind when I said I started singing a song in my head and had already been typing it up. And I just saw it in the comments, and that's amazing. And also, Biblaridian says I'm going to get to see many more buildings that look like that when I come visit Edinburgh. And I'm so excited! Okay. Now I'm back to thinking about these verb forms.
Anyway, so it should definitely be gamma, gamav, gantov, initial stress.
Mm-hmm.
The perfective comes from that coal.
Mm-hmm.
That was originally a serial construction. Gum, bram, coal. And so the kind of phrase level stress would be on coal. Gum, bram, coal. So it should stick there, ganchel. Ganchela. Ganchelbo.
I have a potentially wild suggestion to just throw out.
Yeah, I'm going to have a question too. Go ahead.
When you were talking about nouns, where did you say the stress would naturally be? In your mind?
The nouns that aren't monosyllabic would be on the root. I'm sorry, would be on the final one, the modifier. Just like in English, we say bluebird, not bluebird.
But when there's a case prefix, it would be on the final syllable for most nouns, because all of our nouns are one syllable in these charts.
Yep.
So it would be a gym, not a gym.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. You have a question.
Yeah. So I think it should be ganchela, ganchobo, and so on. But here's my question. We just shortened up show to shi in front of a consonant. Should we do that with ho before a consonant? It's the same thing.
So gan hubo instead of
Ganchibo. Ganchibo is supposed to ganchelbo. Ganchutov instead of gancheltov. Ganchelov.
I mean,
And
if
then we
it's,
have gancho. Guess we can keep that.
to my ears, it feels like it's easier to stress the hu when it's that front vowel as opposed to the hu, like kind of mid glide vowel combo.
Jesse called it mid, so guess we gotta change it.
Was it not mid?
Mid is an modern way of saying that it's not good.
I'm not modern.
But do we keep the ho, like when there's no consonant, gun ho?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, huh? Does this rescue our cells?
I think it might, or at least help. Maybe not, but
Oh my god, it does. Oh my god, it does. Oh, Jesse.
well, we have one extra Copico for 3 weeks. So, cell rescue. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have a perfect amount for 3 weeks.
Copico, double the fun for double the rainbow.
Okay.
And we still have showy show. Showy show. Well, actually, now we should ask. Now we should talk about this. Should it be so? Show came from a verb, catch, ish, and then ah. So ah is obviously not getting stretched. Should it be shoisha or shoisha? Everything else for like all the other paradigms, just not the passive, it is getting middle stress. So like ishela, ishibo, isho, ishelov, ishutov, ishelov. Seems like it should probably be shoisha.
Do you think at some point the foxes were like, our stress is kind of all over the place, and they either embraced it and said this is just how our language is, or do you think speakers rebelled against that and normalized stress on the most common denominator and said this is how it is now, which sometimes means what used to be stress no longer is, but it hits most of them?
Well, right now, I think we can say that stress falls on the last syllable, except for agreement on verbs, and some of these ones that end in like extra consonants. So, for example, lija, that was a monosyllable, but it became two syllables because of sound changes.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's always final.
So we don't need to mark it. We just need to.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. You just need to remember like the counterexamples. For example, like this is why in Spanish words that end in a consonant are pretty much stressed. You know, if it ends in a consonant, it pretty much always has the stress. N and S are different because N and S participate so much in inflectional morphology. And so it's like, since they already have the convention of marking things with accents, if you had to mark one, you actually mark it when it is stressed. And so that's why when you write están, that gets the accent, but comieron, don't bother with that. And then all the millions of plurals that are not stressed word finally, like, can you imagine if you had to mark every single one with an accent mark? So it's like, a niño, no accent mark. Niños, you have to mark it with an accent mark because it's an S that doesn't draw stress. That would be too much. They go the other way. If it's an S that does draw stress, you mark it with an accent mark. So anyway, I think we're okay. I don't think that we need to mark stress.
I have a question for you. Well, actually, I can just ask the group because oh, you're squeezing my ear out. I'm not sure I'll get my question out. Thank you. So when you use the noun meaning pants in Spanish,
Pantalones, yeah.
do you ever use it singular? And if so, does it mean something different?
Pantalón?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just refer to the character from that play?
Well, I'm asking because in Duolingo I had an example of, I thought it was always pantalones, kind of like English versus French, where like plural means multiple pairs of pants versus like the singular form is pant, just one pair of pants.
Oh, I didn't know that.
According to Duolingo, I had an example that contrasted the singular versus the plural form to show the difference in, like, I think it was calling one of them like red and one where it was like the adjective had to agree differently. But like it was a singular form, and I, in my head, thought it was always pantalones in Spanish when referring to a pair of pants. But the English version of that was just like the pants are green or whatever. And so I was confused, and I meant to ask you that earlier today.
Maybe a regional
Miles
thing.
says
Yeah,
Argentinian Spanish, the singular is more common. Remy says yes, and it means the same. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Remy and Miles, for passing that on. And Patrick looked at some usage notes. Now, is French the same? Did I get the French right? That you really just need to use, because if I'm remembering the word, it really is just pantalon. But that's a pair of pants. And you would normally only pluralize it if you meant more than one pairs of pants, I think.
Relative.
The Wiktionary example sentence is something about my pants. Kel is who? Or what? Obviously, I need to know more. I don't know what MEC, M-E-C, what is that? Which dude stole, so it is what / who, what X. Who stole my pants? I don't know stole, so that is new for me. Okay. That, and also Mac being dude is obviously very new for me. Did that come from Mac? It is from Mac. Oh my gosh. What? Okay.
Wow.
That's amazing. And I didn't know it was from Dutch. Is the English use of Mac also from Dutch then? Like to mean guy?
What? Oh, I'm familiar with Macintosh being a raincoat. Hey, Mac. That one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, is that from the same Dutch that mech dude in French comes from?
Banker? No, broker.
Okay.
Stress is usually on the last syllable of a word.
Except when it's not.
Agreement on verbs deflects stress, meaning the stress will be on the previous syllable. There are also a small number of words with characteristic endings that will have penultimate stress. At the moment, we are electing not to mark the stress on these words, though this practice may be amended, in future if necessary. By the way, the previous description we had here on stress said that stress is usually on the first syllable of the root. This description may be amended later.
Love it.
Yeah. Patrick's saying it comes from, the Mac that you see, it's something like McDonald.
Patrick was guessing, though. I think Tethys looked it up and says Wiktionary says yes. I think it has been traced back to the Dutch. So now I'm looking up on Wiktionary. However, no, okay, so I think maybe I was reading it in the wrong order. But yeah, Wiktionary says that Mac is a clipping.
Yeah.
For Scottish, yeah. And did you know that while we spell Macintosh the raincoat with a K, it's not supposed to have one?
Maybe, the British love to throw extra letters into words. Maybe they just felt they needed to. They couldn't justify a U after the O. Macintosh.
Wow.
All right. Well, we've been
Fun
stressed
times.
out. That's good. We have
Yes, there were indeed planes.
helicopter.
There was indeed aircraft. And I don't know. I said that kind of half singular, half plural because I don't know if there was one or more than one. But yeah, we live close-ish to a military base, and so there's a lot of air traffic
Nonsense.
that happens. And is it in the early fall, I think, where we actually get the air show being practiced right over our house
Oh.
with
is
those
that-
giant jets? Is it early fall? Because I think it's like September-ish that it happens. And when that is going on, that is like fighter jets flowing at treetop level right by our house. And it's crazy. I hear you typing.
All right.
Where are you typing?
I added a little description for our verbs. And in the verb section, we have copula, we have negation. We probably should show some examples of voice somewhere.
So without giving any details away, I will say that that makes me laugh because David and I have recently had to go back into language documents that we, by and large, were finished with in terms of needing to work with. And we had to get them updated to be ready to send to people who weren't us. Who would need to understand what all of our cryptic notes meant. And we had to take all of these cryptic notes that we made to ourselves a long time ago. I mean, it's been a hot minute. And we had to turn those into descriptions with examples. And so David's saying, I guess maybe we should include something about voice here. Yeah, we should. We should.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to need your help hunting up some words. We might need to create some words. We want some examples. So how about the fox bashed the rock, bashes. So that's bow. No, that's gum. Gum, quiche, hokfad. Fox bashes the rock. And now what does it look like in the past tense? Is it gum shao? Gung hao?
One moment. I was just there and then I moved and now. Okay, past third person singular. Gan hu.
Gun hao? Okay.
Hu. God, I can't say this language.
Gun
I love it.
hao.
I love it though.
Yeah. Gung hao kish hokfad. I keep mixing those up. I keep saying hokfad as opposed to hokfad. Also, there's something in my head that is like if you mix up the pronunciation, you say something bad. But there's nothing wrong with either hofkad or hokfad.
In this language? Or in any language?
In English.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because of the way we pronounce it, the gung hao is how you say gun show in Britain.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
I get daily exposure to a gun show. They may not. Do you want to?
There's the gun show. There's your gung hao.
my favorite guns in America.
Okay. How about let's do some first person. How would I say I bashed the rock? Is it gama?
Gamma.
And then gangela?
Yes.
Angela.
Exactly, Mateus. Exactly. I could imagine you learn to sleep through them when you're used to hearing them. Did you find any good friend rice ideas? I need to know if friend rice is a thing that I need to invent. I call it my very own invention, a new way of cooking rice. The friend rice.
Can you imagine if there was a very, very specific rice recipe and you made it and took it to somebody that you said, now we're friends, and then you share the rice?
It has to be some really good rice.
It had to be something that you want occasionally, but not a lot.
Fair. All rice is friend rice to me. I love it. I think so, right, Danielle? Like, that could be a good potluck thing where you say, hey, I'm bringing friend rice, and then everyone knows they're in charge of bringing toppings for the rice that you're cooking.
Oh gosh, let me tell you, there is a very specific type of rice dish that I guess is from Iran. And Paul Fromer, who did all of his dissertation work in Iran, incidentally, just before the hostage situation. So like he finished his dissertation, went back to the United States, and then the hostage situation in Iran happened. Like just missed it. Anyway, but he learned how to make this rice, and so served it to us once we got to eat it. And it's really good. And that's part of its characteristic, is that you let the bottom layer kind of burn a little bit and get really crispy.
Gotcha.
It's kind of nice.
Nice. Okay, we've got first time. Did you need me to be in the charts for anything else? Am I pulling anything else for you?
Yeah. I think Jake is onto it. I think Jake. I'm not going to say it, but Jake is onto what my brain is thinking when I'm mispronouncing it. Okay. So let's see. How would we say the rock is bashed? Is that shigam?
The rock is bashed. Passive, singular, perfective. Perfective or imperfective? Was bashed.
Imperfective.
Shigam.
Shigam kvad. The rock. The rock is bashed thrown by the fox, which would be Akish. And then the rock was bashed. That's just Shigam Kho. Shigam Kho.
Yes.
By me. We haven't done that yet, have we?
For by the fox,
Mm-hmm.
is that in a case?
It sure is. It's in the
Genitive?
It's in the genitive.
Well, the genitive of me is Raf. RAF?
What?
RAF is the genitive of first person singular.
We did all that?
Yeah, we have a whole pronoun chart.
Whoa, look at that. I didn't remember doing that. Well, this is just like Christmas. My.
You don't get a third Kopiko this stream.
Kopiko! Okay. There we go. The rock was bashed by me. Okay. I think that's pretty good for our verb section. All right. Now we are ready to get to the place where we were trying to get to last time. Participles. Participles.
Hey, in my Nissa language, I have names now. I have a way to make personal names.
Yeah.
There you go. That was all because I didn't want to think about participles.
They're really, really nice, but I do want to throw this out here in case this didn't come up on the stream. I don't remember if it did, but Jake had a chance to go to bingo hosted by the Venga Boys.
I feel like that may have been said before, but
Like,
I don't remember.
Not like, oh, this happened in England. This happened in Southend. Like,
That's crazy.
it was in their hometown. The Venga Boys hosting bingo.
That is incredible.
Didn't go. Nice smiles. Oh, South Venga Boys. The Venga Boys came. The Venga bus came. Everybody was jumping.
I will say, though, if you're not into bingo, like, it doesn't
Interesting
matter
as
who's
well.
hosting, you're still just not into it. I don't know. So I don't know if that was it or if it was like maybe they just weren't in the mood to be in a bingo crowd. I don't know. But
I mean, that could have only been the most exciting or disappointing thing of all time.
I feel like the only thing that Jake has to put in about this is that you said Southend wrong, and I just did too. And so...
Southend? 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 Welcome to Southend?
And so I think that was that contribution.
Can you imagine, though, like if it was just the Venga Boys dressed normally, you know, the little thing. B17.
There is no B17. That's I-17. Get your bingo straight, man.
Oh, I forgot that Jesse's like a
Gosh.
bingo, like hardcore.
Man. I enjoyed my days of Flamingo Bingo. Thank you very much. Oh, my cousin and I used to go to the Drag Queen Bingo in Denver. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Miles.
Did they call it Dringo Bingo?
They didn't. I don't know. Maybe someone else does. Okay.
The Bingo Boys. The Bingo Boys. Bingo Boys.
What are we doing? Remind
Bingo,
me.
bingo. Yes. Oh, participles.
No, I know that. That wasn't what I was going with. Remind me. Is there any use right now for the bare form of the verb? Is that how we say?
Third person singular, imperfect.
But that's restricted to that one, like. Would there be an instance where it would make sense to say, like, you get the bare form when it's third person singular, but you also get the bare form when it's an active participle?
Well, currently, if we just follow the practice of Hauhoff, it would also be used for commands.
Okay. No, that would make sense. And I feel like having another use for that would make sense just because, you know, as you all know, languages quite often use the same forms to mean different things, and you just have to use context to figure that out. Okay. Did we have special participle forms in Hauhoff? So do we have some sort of model to start working with?
We have a participle strategy in Hauhoff.
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, you're going to like it even less when you see what actually happens.
Should we just ignore it then and say they did their own thing?
Yeah, there is so much that happens in Hauhoff that is so uniquely specific to the language. And it's, you know, it's basically, it's word mixing, like it's word order flipping, and it's category shifting. that just doesn't really seem to apply to what we're building up. But I will show you. So for transitive verbs, you simply, all these things are simply nominalized, put them in the genitive, and then for transitive verbs, it can be active or passive. So Bramimea is the sleeping dog, but Bramevaf is the sniffing dog or the sniffed dog. Bramajua, the chasing dog or the chased dog. It can be either, and it's only determined by context.
Okay.
And then this goes into relative clauses as well. That gosh, these are really complex. This is a really cool language. So like, lacho bramvoch, the dog slept. Lacho is to sleep. Why is it mea up there? Oh, that's probably a different word for sleep. And then bramayocho voch, the dog that slept. The dog of sleeping. And then the dog that chased the cat versus the dog chasing the cat. Bramajua ayah, the dog chasing the cat. Bramajua hekol ayah, that's the dog that chased the cat. I don't remember what the hey in there is for. Is that a third person singular pronoun? Do we have that?
More fun. Hey.
This is, we don't have third person singular pronouns. I don't know what the hey in there is for. Ajua hey. Interesting. My. What have we done? Hey. Oh no. Oh! It's some sort of plural thing, right? Hem. It comes from Fur. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Anyway, so yeah, the point is that we should probably do something else. Maybe?
I think we should brainstorm some potential ideas and actually make this week's poll about participles.
Yeah, so since it's going to be a poll, let's go ahead and write up if we were going to follow the Hauhoff model. Okay, option A, it would be basically, so we have, we just created another transitive verb, didn't we? Kick?
Yeah, we did do kick, shell.
Wait, did we write that on the table?
To kick, shell?
Yeah, we did. Do we have a nicer transitive verb? We have kick, we have bash, we have fear. And fear I don't like to use because it ends up sounding a lot like the inflection.
Well, one, to be fair, kick in the sense that I was suggesting kick is...
Yeah, I know.
Kicking the ground, not another canine. We have to heel, to follow...
oh, I
to
see.
Bite.
I see. I just heard it in my mind's eye like Jake. And now I understand how it's stressed. You're going to Southend.
To join.
That I was trying. Are you going to Southend? I'm trying. I can't do it. I can't do Jake.
To chew. To guide, to lead.
You want to create a new word, Jess? You want to create a new word that means to hug?
I am, well, sure, but I was just I was throwing ideas at you that we already had in Hauhoff, and you're like, no.
Nah.
All right, we don't have hug.
Yeah, we don't. But we definitely need it.
What's our word going to be?
And we're welcoming suggestions.
Suggestions,
No,
please.
Just
Please.
obviously not completely ridiculous ones, Patrick.
Why are you calling Patrick out?
Patrick knows why.
I feel like we don't have.
Oh, who would be a clue there, wouldn't it?
EB. We don't have very many E's, and we have EH, EL, EM, EW. We don't have any like ET, ED, EB kind of forms. H. We don't have a lot of H's comparatively. But that is close to skluing, so I don't super. R's are very few and far between.
I'm gonna create.
We get an R.
Here.
And S is also, but S should be small because it has to be conditioned by, which is why H is small, because some H's are becoming S's, and so never mind on that. However, the R is small. Does that become GH in some cases? Well, that R becomes GH, but the other R does not. So R is still a small inventory. We only have, 4. And U is also small.
Okay. Got 2.
What 2 do you have?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh, okay. Well, I threw out a lot of opening letters. Do you want me to revisit any of them? Do you want me to...
I've got one that starts with F, one that starts with R, and one that starts with U.
Okay. Did you want to do the E initial? A?
Let me see what we have and what we don't have over there.
We don't have any stops following A. Do we have... Wait. No, we haven't. Never mind. You can move on. Of course, we already have it now. I remember. I was thinking of the beloved mem. But pull, and of course, because that's actually the source of some of our plural forms.
All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show people what it, first one is going to be what it shows up as in Haugoff, and then the second one is going to be how it shows up in Lohakish.
I'm excited to see.
And they all said that day the Venga bus came, and yet none were there to witness.
Oh, was bus one of the forms?
All right, there we go.
We don't have a BU word yet. We could have bus.
Nah. No, wait, we couldn't have boost. There's no proto-S.
Bush. With a C? The hya? Is that the closest?
No, I think buch.
Yeah, my grandpa's nickname was Bus. We're getting votes in. We seem to have a clear leader.
What do you think of those 4, Jess?
I feel like two of them are based on us not being able to decide on forms. Er,
It's a common disfluency of mine. Ew.
and then the top one was, of course, a nod to Patrick, who said it could be fate, but instead of fate, you did fame.
It's because I'm gonna live forever.
Well, that's the winner, so.
It sure is.
That was loud. Yeah, I feel like I may have made a noise similar to that when David gave me my big squeeze that some of my air got a little knocked out. It
Guess what, Jess?
already exists.
Yeah, it's the word for rhubarb.
You didn't check? Like you
No.
weren't checking as you did this?
I didn't check.
Right, well, fate it is.
What'd you say? Fate?
Fate.
F-E-T?
Yeah. It could be a regular T. It looks like we have the foat with a pharyngeal, but I don't think we have a fate with. Then it would be fate and feet, right? Ooh, give you a
So-
feet.
So, it's kind of an interesting idea. So in Hauhoff, it would just be, fate versus fate, right? But in Lohakish, it is fees versus feet.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What do you like better? I kind of screwed things up with the polls, so I would like to give you the opportunity.
You're saying that to them, right?
No, I'm saying that to you.
To me. Oh, I
Feast?
thought you were, because they voted and we're like basically saying we're taking your top choice but changing it.
Yeah, I mean, it already exists. I do like rhubarb, though. It's a very, very attractive thing, right? That's the one that's like bright red. That's
Yeah.
that's the one where it's like you look at it and like, wow, I bet this tastes like candy, and then it totally doesn't.
It's also, if you don't cook it right, it can be poisonous. So you have to be careful.
Poison rhubarb. Okay, so yeah, feast or feet?
And then,
Squirrel.
oh, it turned around. with you
Hello,
doing
little
that.
friend.
Does he have something in his mouth? I have
He
my
does.
glasses. I can't.
He does have something in his mouth.
These are my computer glasses. The
Oh, he's-
distance is not so
He's
helpful.
hopping down.
Okay, and then for Haugoff, you said they would both come out as fate.
Yeah, it just depends. One's going to end with an aspirated, one with a pharyngeal. Fate versus fate.
Okay. I think we should go aspirated.
Okay.
Because then peace is,
Yeah.
I feast you.
All right. To hug.
So growing up, one of my favorite treats was strawberry rhubarb pie made by my grandma. I don't remember if my mom made it very often. My favorite pie that we had at home was green tomato pie,
Mhm.
which I made later in life for myself and rather enjoyed it. That one is still a favorite home pie for me. Okay, FET to hug. Get that on the English side.
All right. Feast. Quiche. And I'm going to, just to make things completely copacetic. Really? Wow, how about that?
I want to join you. I want to see what you're reelying about. Feast quiche?
We're gonna give ourselves a brand new noun.
That's interesting, Mateus, because I feel like the only place I've had rhubarb with custard is in Europe. I don't know that I've ever had it here. And not to say we don't have it here, just saying that I feel in the places I've lived, it's far less common. Perhaps because custard is far less common.
Okay, I've added a new word to lochakish, came from Helhoff. It is the word for fish,
Ooh,
which just comes out as wob.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
In the accusative, it goes to a V. But fis kish hovob, the fox hugs the fish. That is a friendly sentence, isn't it?
It is.
And now we're going to have hovob or kish. That will be shifis. The fish is hugged. All right. So we have that. These are our exemplars. And now for the Hauhoff option, we would have wob a fis. This is the hugged fish or the hugging fish. But, oh no.
Crashed again?
Crashed.
Oh, for real? Like crashed crash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
I need to back up a second though anyway. Mateus just said I had an excellent leek and cottage cheese dessert a few days ago. Mind you, I am all about putting leek and cottage cheese together, but dessert? Was it a savory dessert? And David, if you want to talk through, I can try to keep typing things. We're in our last 2 minutes.
No, I know. But don't worry, I got it back.
Okay.
Because yeah, we need to get this. Okay, so it's there. So we have that. This was our option A. This was if we go the Haugoff route. And the reason that I was scrolling down was because I needed to see what the genitive was in adjectives. That was why.
I'll scroll.
It's the same. It's the same.
You've already scrolled, I see. Never mind.
Okay, so
I was trying to help.
I can come up with more examples where the genitival form would be different, but that's the important bit. All right. Okay, so this option. There's basically it's Hauhoff. There's no distinction between passive and active. Now this one, we can just say it is what it is. We have a little bit of what we had before. This would be the hugging fish, I guess. And we could just say this is the hugged fish. And it would agree.
We may need to think through that. I do, however, want to toss out one more thing as it's 4:00. Just to see if you wanted to play around with the idea that was abandoned for how we would make passives, but would you want to have this kind of weird little ergative absolutive split in participles where intransitive verb it would be the active participle, transitive verb it's actually passive participle with no marking.
Okay, then if we did that, how that would be kind of like options, both options one.
Both, yeah.
So this would.
It would just be like that's not the way we do actual passive clauses. It's just this is the way they would understand the participles. But we would need to come up with a source for the active participle for transitive verbs. Because it kind of leaves based on where it comes from Haugoff, and I don't know how early that grammatical pattern would have been set up in Haugoff, whether the foxes would have split off before or they would have seen it in action and kind of taken some of it with them. You could see that there is a possibility where they could say, like, oh yeah, these participles can be interpreted either way, and they just went with one interpretation, and then did something special for the alternate interpretation.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm. Tethys made it in?
Oh my gosh. It was an accident. But, okay. The hugging fish would be like, gives off the scent of hugging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes tech in that. So that becomes that in lo hakish, and then we just shorten it to te. And it'd be like, it gives hugging,
Mm-hmm.
In the very modern sense.
It gives those hugging vibes.
It serves hug.
I like it.
Okay. And then I want one more.
Well, I may need to leave you to it if you want to continue streaming. But I can think while I run away.
I want an adjectivalizer.
Okay. I may need to think about that. If you end the stream while I'm out of the room, much love to you all. Happy first week of June, and stay grammar.
Come on, Haugoff.
Did it die again?
No, it's just like we don't have a verb for to take, to get, to accept.
That's not Haugoff's fault.
Okay. I have an option D. This wasn't even the one I was thinking of, but yeah. I mean, I'm just going to double check, but I'm pretty confident of the sound changes here. Yeah. All right. Here he goes. Here it goes. You tell him, dog. Basically, it's the opposite to give off a scent, to sniff. And so to sniff is hugged, and to give off a scent is hugging. All right. These are pretty good. I might play around and come up with an option E, because I was hoping that there would be something that would be a more generalized adjective maker. I thought of paint. Basically, it paints hugging. And then, combine that with the shoe, because the shoes was itself a verb, and so you could apply the prefix to a verb without that and a verb with that. I don't know. But actually, hang on. No, we got it. We just use this. We just use that. All right, there we go. Okay.
I made it back.
Okay, I've got options A, B, C, D, and E, and I think that all of them are good enough. We can narrow them down, by which I mean you and me. And everybody
Right.
else who's following along will just be here for the next hour.
I can't believe you didn't use to bark. It barks the hugging. Okay.
All right. That is it for this edition of Silliness.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being here with us, and we will see you again soon.
Next week?
All right.
Bye.